Some beginning memoir writers often rush through major events. They just fly through them. And then they wonder, why it's so hard to write to a certain word count. They're like, well, I did it. I put everything down on the page and, I'm not getting anywhere. It feels like, I'm writing through molasses. And often then I sit down and I take a look at their paragraphs and I go, well, expand this, say more about that. And here's a really good example from one of my students. A simple paragraph. He says, my dad took me to the ICU and showed me a baby with small, frail body. His eyes closed as if he was peacefully sleeping. His little hands clenched. I almost cried. Note the almost there. He was so cute and I was thrilled to see him. It made me feel more responsible as I was the eldest child in my house. I truly felt like an older brother. My dad was happy until he cried. In the next few days, he came home. My aunt also came by. She was here to help my mom. My sister and I used to sit around my brother for hours. We would play with him and watch him sleep. We would also help my mom feed him and even eat his food with him. So you see how we do have a scene about an ICU, about seeing a baby. Now that, if I just point to about here, it ends about there, right? So that's a scene very specific in the hospital. We could have more detail here. It could use some editing as well. But that's a scene right there. Now he transitions, and this probably should be a new paragraph. In the next few days, he came home. And then my aunt also came by. So that's another action. She was here to help mom. My sister and I used to sit around my brother for hours. That's a completely different thing than my aunt also came by and she was helping my mom. Also, we would play with him and watch him sleep. That could be a whole nother scene. Same with the last sentence. So when you think about it, 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences there, each with potentially another scene in them. So this author could expand this so many ways. Otherwise, though, this whole paragraph, I don't feel like I'm right there with the author. I'm getting a summary, I'm getting something at a distance from the actual scene. At least up here, when we were in the ICU, you feel like we're actually there. Here, we're a step removed from the baby. And obviously the focus is on this baby and the effect of that baby on the author, the change in the home, the change in the family dynamics. So I would suggest you just take each one of these and you could write 500 words on this sitting around and playing with the brother. You could write 500 words about watching him, playing with him and watching him sleep. You could write 500 words about feeding and, eating alongside him. If that's interesting, if any of that, has potential as a story. But it's just in that expansion that we can build out and write more, and kind of meet those word counts that we're trying to meet as we write the bigger memoir project.